earlier we mentioned the Toy Fair.
Yes, and a lot of stuff went down.
Oh yeah.
Mostly, so we
Pretty
weren't
much
there.
everything I want to buy.
We did not get a chance to show up, so a lot of it was really just announcements and release date announcements.
Right.
So some of this is old, some of this is new, but
Some of it we knew maybe a little bit before about.
and we're not going to cover
Some of it,
everything.
and some of it we speculated.
Right, but we're going to go through most of it, and in advance we have to give credit to Board Game Geek's Twitter account where most of the photographs we're going to be showing behind us came from. There's a lot of things. The first thing is...
Let's get rolling.
Oh boy, I had to throw that in there. It's
Yep.
Dice Masters.
I didn't actually know that was next.
Oh, really?
No.
What did you think was happening?
I don't know. It's just like I just said that, and let's see what comes up.
I thought it was a pun. Okay, so Dice Masters announced 2 new sets. Now, if you had to make you probably already know. But if you
Well,
had,
I know one of them.
I
didn't know the
What's
other
the one you know?
I know Civil War.
So-
because they just love that Marvel.
Civil War is coming out in May, of course, the same time as the movie. The other one is World's Finest, Batman and Superman, which is coming out at the same time as the Batman Superman movie. So clearly they have their marketing down pat with the Dice Masters universe. I mean, I don't know if there's too much for us to say about that. We like Dice Masters. It's more.
If you like Dice Masters, you're going to be excited.
I doubt there's going to be anything groundbreaking here, but it's cool. I mean, it's cool. If you, they're probably going to be cool sets. I guess I do wonder, in terms of at least Civil War, how many of those characters aren't already in the sets, and are they?
Well, what I'm more
new
interested
versions?
in is if they're going to make a new allegiances symbols, like, and I don't wonder what it'll be, because I didn't read the comics, so I don't know if it's like Iron Man's side and Captain side, or are they
I
known
don't think
as
they
the
have
Freedom Fighters,
Yeah.
or
I don't think they have. I guess they'd just be like pro. What do they call it? Whatever the name of like the.
and I'm
act
assuming
was.
they're pulling from the first Civil
Identity
War,
Act.
because I know also in the comics we have Civil War Part 2 or Civil War 2 coming around.
I'm assuming it is that. Yeah. It seems
Because
like what they
I really hope they don't mix it, because then people are going to be really confused when, like, wait, I thought Captain America was fighting Iron Man. No, in the second one they're on the same side. Like,
Don't try to understand comic books, kids. Then, all right, we got a whole bunch of announcements from Cryptozoic.
oh yeah, no, all these I'm like,
So first, Rick and Morty, and I believe there's still another Rick and Morty
yes.
game coming.
We actually talked about a lot of these on our Gen Con video.
That's true.
But like you said, we learned about new Rick and Morty. So first there's the party one. I think that's the one you can see behind us right now. Yes. But there's another one that actually involves, I think it's the Me-Seeks, and actually has the button.
You don't think that's also a party one?
No, but I mean, I think this is the one that they told us about before. Like this one, I think this is the Dice one.
Well, this one is it's based on the Total Recall episode from season 2, where they're all the imaginary people that you don't know if they exist or not.
I forget what they call
parasites, whatever they are. So I think the idea is pretty great because it's kind of like a deduction game. You have to figure out which characters are real and which aren't. It's a hilarious idea.
No, I mean it's gonna be. I mean it's Rick and Morty. We're excited for both of them.
Yeah, they sound like they're interesting. They could easily be generic bad licensed games, but I'm hopeful. I think it'll be cool. Then they also got more licensed stuff. Let's face it, it's Cryptozoic. Attack on Titan. So
now, but this one I was shocked about. I
Yeah.
mean, we have our Attack on Titan game, which we actually previewed, and I am really excited about playing because I had a lot of fun with that.
yeah, we both loved that game.
But I did not expect them to go the deck building game. I mean, I thought like maybe they did, but they were very iffy on it or iffy in general with anime because the Naruto one sort of like.
Right. Well,
they
in case it wasn't clear, in addition to this regular board game, they're adding Attack on Titan into the Cryptozoic deck building
the
line.
Cerberus line, which has the DC, Naruto, Capcom,
Everything.
Yeah, which we'll get to another one later.
Yes.
And they were because Naruto didn't do too well because the mechanic in it. They tried something new, which sort of flopped.
So you're surprised that they went back to the anime?
I'm happy they did. I mean, the guy seemed very iffy on it, but I think Attack on Titan's just so big.
Yeah, they had to do it.
I'm excited for that because it means there's another thing that's not DC in it. That's actually I think we talked about this. Our biggest gripe with Legendary right now. You're like, okay, we get it, Marvel.
We'll get to that later too, because we're going to talk about the Legendary a lot today.
Yeah.
So diversity is always good. And always
so I'm definitely excited about that.
And clearly they have confidence in making 2 games based on it.
Yeah.
And yet another game being added. It's not a game, another franchise being added to the series that we also already kind of knew about, which is the Cartoon Network one.
Right. This one I'm really excited about because I was a little bit iffy and worried that it was only going to be their new shows, aka Steven Universe,
Adventure Time.
and regular show. Like, that's it. But as you can see, we have a lot of our classic favorites on there. In particular, Samurai Jack, who we also know is getting a new season.
Right.
And there's plenty more, I believe they say on the back, that we're going to get.
Well, I think Dexter's in it, Johnny Bravo's in
Right.
it. I think there's some. I feel almost it's a little weird. Like, why Johnny Bravo over like Powerpuff Girls?
Well, they might not be as big cards. Like, they could have other ones as small cards and then expansions and stuff or promos.
Maybe it just seems like Johnny Bravo was he really the most popular?
Either way,
Courage is in it. Courage
I'm
is kind of the
happy
dog.
that they understand we want to see the older stuff.
Yeah,
just as much
no,
as,
they know
I'm not
that.
saying that the new stuff doesn't deserve it,
Yeah,
but
we know.
I'm very happy. I think this is going to be also really funny and cool. What I think is also going to be very interesting is Cartoon Network did show all the DC shows.
Oh, right.
So it'd be funny if they did sort of like a weird crossover DC Cartoon Network one.
Oh, I'd love to see. Have they done anything based on the animated shows like themselves?
The only thing I've seen is the original base set, the Justice League satellite is one of the locations.
Oh.
Other than that, there's nothing that really.
Pretty cool. Like it really like used the artwork and stuff.
No, that's what I'm saying. If they actually made a set like
Yeah.
so, because I think that'd be interesting, especially with Young Justice, which hopefully they bring back someday. The in particular would make more sense to mix with this one is the Teen Titans Go, which is more of the silly Titans, and then
Yeah.
if they did the regular one too. So I think this is just a perfect fit in the DC deck building the Cryptozoic deck building line.
Yeah, I hope they add Mike, Lou, and Og, Sheep in the Big City,
Two Stupid Dogs.
Two Stupid Dogs. Trying to name all the Cartoon Network shows that were failures. We're not done though. We're not done.
Oh,
with
please.
the deck building games. So Cryptozoic also was showing the third Crisis expansion.
Yes. This pretty much each Crisis expansion usually expands off the story that the base it was based off of came from. Like Heroes Unite was based a bit more on the Blackest Night Lantern, so the Crisis was Blackest Night. This one is actually based off of I think it's called Infinite Crisis, but it's when pretty much the villain versions of the big heroes we know and love enter there and capture them, and then the villains have to actually stop them. So
Usually the Crisis they're small though, right?
Yes,
Is this because the image is looks like a box? Do we know if it's?
I know it comes with more
bigger?
because one of the things is, which I think they've been realizing your complaints about, and I'm probably sorry for hitting the mic there. Remember earlier we've gotten the Watchmen, which had the traitor mechanic in it. This one has the Suicide Squad, and as we know, the Suicide Squad, as they call it, are ne'er-do-wells. Not sure what that means exactly.
They never do well.
But, they all have their sort of own agenda. So this is going to make it a bit more like Dead of Winter, where, like, winning is, well, that's not winning for me.
Right. Well, it's always been like that, kind of. Well, there's always one winner still. It wasn't fully cooperative.
No, in
DC.
the other Crisis ones.
Oh, in the Crisis ones they were.
In the Crisis ones.
Oh, okay.
No, in the DC one is completely competitive.
Right.
Crisis was completely cooperative. This is going to be that Dead of Winter
this
style.
is the mix of it. Interesting. Okay.
Which then is going to be more interesting than if we throw in Watchmen, because then it's 100% Dead of Winter, the deck building game.
Well, I do think with each expansion they add a lot more because when you have this many expansions, you kind of have to add a lot more.
No, and I think that's good because then you can choose how to mix and match. Like I said, that's why I think the hockey one is still worthy part of collection because then throwing in the penalties really changes things up.
I was like, did he mispronounce Hawkeye?
No.
Oh, right. That exists. Yeah.
And of course, so they're slowly making it out of that area where your biggest gripe of the generic.
Now you just need to spend $100 to get a game that's deeper.
Well, no, you just get a couple, and at least.
Maybe, yeah, perhaps. But that's all these things are 2016, by the way. If you want the specific dates, you can find it at look up on. There's one more Cryptozoic. This one I just thought was really interesting.
Yeah. No, I mean, just when I saw it, I was just like,
and much more out of left field than those ones.
Well, I think it's something that Cryptozoic's been trying really hard to do, which I applaud them, is to not get a license, or at least not one that I know of.
This is a license.
Oh, it is?
Yes, it is.
Never mind then. I did not write. Well, I guess it's not a very well-known one.
Well, this is Infernal Affairs. So this is based on a Chinese crime movie from I think the 90s.
That's even better.
You may know it better because it was remade in America as The Departed. That's actually a remake of this movie, which I have never seen the original one, but I love The Departed. But basically,
I have not seen that. So.
It's two like crime syndicates, and each one has a mole in the other one. So this is like a hit and roll deduction game. You're trying to figure out who the spy is. But I just think that's such an interesting franchise to take.
No, what I like is
wouldn't
that,
expect that.
like you said, franchise-wise, I mean, granted, I didn't
You couldn't even
realize
call it a franchise. Properly.
I didn't recognize it as one, which I think is good because now I'm like, oh, I know this is what this is, and they could have been like, let's make Departed. No, they actually went for the Chinese one.
Although I wonder if it might have been easier to get the license for this too.
Maybe, but I mean, I like the idea of pulling from outside of what we already know, like the comic book, blinders.
Right. So it should be cool. I think it's cool. So that's Cryptozoic. Finally, we're gonna.
Yeah, we only just finished with Cryptozoic.
Finally, the last thing from Toy Fair we're gonna talk about today is some Upper Deck stuff.
Remember when we said we talk about Legendary?
This isn't even the half of it. So they have some new things shown for their Versus game, the Alien set that's coming out,
and the next small Marvel expansion,
which is the A-Force.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool. We don't really know anything about these except that it's more Versus with the Alien theme, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm. And A-Force, respectively.
Right, and then more from Alien, the legendary Alien base game is getting a new box.
And that's a big box.
It's a big box.
So we have no idea because the first one covered all the movies. Right. So my only guess is that we're going to get the other big properties in there. I mean, not the other big properties, but other properties. Like we're going to see the video games, the comics.
It is, yeah, I'm very curious. I will admit, because for me, it's like we haven't even, I feel like, scratched the surface.
No, we have not. I'm very disappointed in us.
Well, I think Neil has played the solo mode a few more times than us, but I'm kind of like, what else? Like, I'm worried that they're just throwing stuff in maybe that doesn't, like for me, I thought, oh, it's kind of cool that Alien is just, it's a one-size-fits-all box and you're done. If there's more, that's great, but we'll see. I'm very curious to find out exactly.
I'm just excited. I know. I'm 100% positive because I'm just a consumer.
I'm much more of a
skepticist.
I'm much more cynical about what may or may not be captured.
You know what could be in here too, which you would think would be interesting?
Yeah.
It come with a rule set. They actually made an official conversion kit with Marvel, so you could be like, from now on, what this does this, or this means this.
Yeah, they should do. Or they do have one for Predator, right?
Yeah, but that's because both are based much more on the same mechanic. Like,
Marvel's
Legendary isn't really, like, you have to come up with some rules, which I think is fine. But if they actually said, from now on in Marvel, this means teleport, this means this. If the card has this much toughness, it's worth 3 points, 2 points, 1 point.
0 points.
Yeah.
I just wanted to continue the train. Last but not least, the Deadpool movie just came out.
And it did well.
Naturally, there are Deadpool games and expansions in the works. Mm-hmm. One is an expansion for Legendary.
Yes.
It's a small set Deadpool stuff. And the other is actually a standalone game that we do not know anything about.
Right.
But it's kind of Upper Deck. It's from Upper Deck, and they are much more, they've started to stray. We've seen a couple of their games that are not in the deck building universe, but it's certainly still kind of new territory for them. So I'm very curious how they
By the way,
that.
I would not be surprised at all if the Deadpool game came with a set of the alternate artwork playable cards for the Deadpool from the original Legendary base game.
Huh.
They really like doing that cross-promotional.
Oh, the standalone, not the smaller set.
Yes. No, I think the smaller set is going to cover the, I forget what the name of it, but there's a Deadpool group where it's like Deadpool, Lady Deadpool, Kidpool.
I think they call it the Deadpool.
Or Dead Corp. It's like Dead Corp or something. And I think it's going to cover, I think Deadpool had his own infinite dimensional war,
right.
Where they had to kill every Deadpool. That's my guess that's going to come in there. We're going to see Evil Pool.
Millpool.
Which is really funny, interesting, because, we recently got to play, which we'll talk about at a later date and time, the secondary.
We're going to talk about that today.
Yeah.
So say
later. Yeah. No, but in it, Deadpool appears a lot. Like, not in the ones, maybe one we played.
Right.
But after looking through all the cards, he's in this a lot.
Yeah, they clearly know he's a thing.